Welcome to the show, Stephen A. You got the first question.
Well, listen, I'm excited to see this kid on the show. Congratulations being a top 10 pick in the NBA draft. I believe it's well-deserved. I want to know, what can the NBA expect? What kind of a player are we going to see you become in your rookie season in the NBA, Austin?
Well, just really an attacker. Not necessarily just a scorer. A lot of people think that's, all I do. But the same skills that I use to score are the same skills I'm going to use to get my teammates open. It's going to be fun because I'm playing the position of a point guard mostly, and also a little bit of shooting guard. So they kind of just want me to be an attacking point guard, like a Westbrook type point guard who looks to score, but not only scores, to look his teammates to get them involved, especially with guys like Eric Gordon and Anthony Davis and Ryan Anderson. We have a lot of pieces to the team this year, so I'm very excited to be in that position.
Austin, this is Skip. I was making the case all along that I thought you should have gone even higher in the draft because I thought the Duke offense, and I have respect for it as I know you did, but I thought it inhibited your NBA type of game. Was I wrong about that?
I don't think you're necessarily wrong, or right. It's just one of those things where you go to a system that's different. One of the best things I like to do is get out in transition, and I never got in transition this year. But it's one of those things where you just adjust. And even though the system at Duke necessarily didn't fit me the best, I still think I got the best out of Duke. I got to be with Coach K a whole year, and I think I gained more than most players they did this year in college, just being around him.
Yeah, why couldn't you,
I think
Austin,
at the end of the day, I got better.
Why didn't you get in transition at all under Coach K?
I don't know. Maybe it's just the way. Well, one, we needed more players that could get up and down. That's one of the things we really needed to do, was just kind of get in a system where we could get up and down. But I like the team we had. I think overall we had a really good year. We fell short in the last tournament, which was really unfortunate because we all wanted to go far. But if you look at the games we won this year and the Maui Classic, and it was a really fun year, and I love my teammates there. And it's just one of those things where we really just didn't get in transition, and I wish we did, because I think if we did that, we would have won even more games, and I certainly would have played a lot better.
Well, Austin, it's interesting that you bring up the love of your teammates that you have, and I want to preface my question to you by saying Coach K has spoken very highly about you, and he's just knocked down some of the stuff that was being said, and your daddy, Doc Rivers, clearly, obviously, came to your defense when there were reports coming out before the NBA draft that, you have Duke teammates that were happy for you to leave, that they didn't necessarily felt that you really meshed with the system itself. And you had a lot of people questioning and using that to question whether or not you were worthy of being a top 10 pick. I'd like to know, how did you feel when you were hearing those kinds of negative things being said about you, and what do you have to say about that now?
It's one of those things where when you hear stuff like that, you just keep moving. I know I have good relationships with my teammates there because I still text them. They still text me every week. And it's one of those things where when you hear stuff like that, at first I was kind of just, shocked, just because I have great relationships with my teammates at Duke. And so for people to be saying I have problems, or I'm not a good teammate, or I start problems with other players and stuff like that, I was kind of like almost mad about it. And then I just used that as motivation, is what it ends up doing. All that stuff that happens when people say negative things about you, I just add it to the fire and just keep motivating and keep working, and that's all I can really do.
So, Austin, I love your confidence. I love it that you grew up around an NBA locker room under an NBA coach. Give us realistic expectations for both you and your team this coming year.
Well, I think, the most important goal for us is the playoffs. And that's something we're going to have to work, and we're going to have to get better. Obviously we have a whole new team, and we're very young. If you look at the average age on our team, it's a very young age. So we have a lot to learn, a lot to get better at. But if you look at all these new pieces that we have a lot of good players now. And I really feel like with hard work and listening to Coach Monty, I really feel like we have a chance to get to the playoffs. And those are my expectations. And I have to go out there and work and do everything I can to help the team get there. And then from there, we'll see what happens. But those are my goals this year. It's just to get there and do everything I can to get the team to the playoffs.
Austin, you're blessed with a lot of experiences. I mean, especially from the coaching position. You got Coach K that you were with for a year. Your dad is somebody that both Skip and myself believe to be one of, if not the best coach in the game today. Obviously, you're going to New Orleans. Monty Williams can coach his butt off, and he deserved the extension that he received. Got a head coach as an assistant coach on the bench in Randy Ayers. But at the same time, you've been around champions as players. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, The Truth, Ray Allen, those guys, because your dad coached in Boston. Who was most impactful where you're concerned in terms of giving you words of wisdom to prepare you for the challenge that you're about to take on?
Well, obviously my father would be number one, just because that's my father and I get to talk to him the most. But outside of that,
I meant as a player. I meant
really,
one of the players.
Okay. As a player, I really actually got a good experience. I got to talk to Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen one time in the locker room, and I rarely was really around the Celtics just because I was trying to get where they're at, so I never got to see them. But that one time I went there in the playoffs this past season, I had a good 45-minute talk with Ray and Kevin, and they looked, we had a real deep conversation about how you get to where they're at. And I asked them, I was like, how do you get to where you guys are at? How do you become a champion? How do you become, a Hall of Fame player and all that? And, they basically just told me when you get to the league, a lot of guys are going to feel really comfortable. A lot of guys are going to get comfortable and settle and, feel like, I'm here now, I can just play and just get paid and move on with life. And he goes, the guys that stay hungry and act like, they're still trying to get there, and the guys that act like they're really professional, this is their job, are the guys that, continue to grow and continue to get championships. And, what I learned from that is, you could just go see who the pros are and who are just, NBA players. And I look at those guys and, that's who I want to be. And it's going to take a lot of hard work, and I got to learn a lot. But, like I said, I know with hard work and God, I know I could get that. So, that was a big advice for me.